write that photojournalists are tasked with a unique privilege, teaching others how to see. Why are so many, the vast majority of people teaching us how to see white Western males, and what's the effect of that?
I think photojournalism remains an incredibly classist industry. It's really difficult to graduate from a university program with student debt, with no access to generational wealth, and then think about becoming a freelance photojournalist where you may have to invest $10,000 into gear and not have any kind of job security to hope that you can work for the best newspapers and magazines in the country. But I can say the impact of that is a huge ethical crisis, because when we are seeing the world and building our visual record almost exclusively through the lens of male photographers, male photojournalists, we are not only missing out on stories that those photographers may not have access to, we're missing out on stories that they don't think should be prioritized, and in turn, we're teaching our audience that those stories don't matter. So making sure that the documentary photography community is as diverse as the communities, the people we hope to cover, is absolutely critical.
Well, let's get to some of the photos from the book. The first one is family bonding.
This is a photograph from Saiza Bakani, who is a Filipino photographer currently based in the United States. She herself has worked as a domestic worker, and her mother continues to work as a domestic worker in Hong Kong. And this is actually a photograph of her own family. Something that we wanted to really address in the book is the fact that a lot of photojournalists work as outsiders, and we're having increasingly nuanced conversations about the fact that we need inside and outside perspectives for holistic and meaningful journalism, but for the longest time, almost all photojournalists have worked as outsiders.
The next one is Dias Eternos, a project called Eternal Days.
Again, I think this is an incredible example of an image that we might not have seen in mainstream media without the attention of a woman photographer. This is documentation of a women's prison in Venezuela, one where you can see the living conditions are very grim. Women do not necessarily have access to justice at the speed at which they should. They are crammed into these cells. I think in this particular instance was 22 women living in one very small space. And again, between access and interest and hoping to focus on this story, I think without Anna's work, we might never hear about these women.
Talk about the choice between black and white, which was the first picture we saw, the family portrait, and color. This is a very grim situation in this women's prison, but vibrant colors.
I think that's a very intentional choice that makes images feel sometimes a little more calm. But I think it's also important to remember that even when you're working in grim situations, images don't necessarily have to just convey trauma. I think there are aspects of that photograph, of Anna's photograph, that even while these are women in prison in very severe situations, this photo is about family and community and the way that they're all coming together to survive this ordeal.
The next photograph is called Portrait for A.
This is an incredible long-term project that photographer Smita Sharma has worked on for years. It was published as a long-form piece in National Geographic about sex trafficking of young girls between India and Bangladesh. And something that photojournalists have to contend with on a day-to-day basis is, how do we make sure that we are centering the safety of the people who trust us with their stories? And in this particular case, these are girls. They're underage. They have dealt with trafficking and sexual trauma, and so it was of utmost importance to Smita that you make sure that you protect the identity and the image of every single one of these women who she was trusted to photograph, and I think she did an incredibly poetic, very powerful job.
The next image is from Afghanistan. It's called Mayhem.
This is, a really classic example of a space that a male conflict photographer just absolutely would not have been able to gain access to. Kiana, though Iranian, has worked in Afghanistan for years and years, and in 2021, with Taliban retaking control and explicitly targeting women, girls, and women's education in particular, this is an image that was taken in the aftermath of a school bombing. She was able to walk into this space, and with her knowledge of the community and the culture, was able to make this photograph of women mourning their children, their daughters.
As you say, this is an image a man couldn't have captured because they just are not visible because of the culture. It's a different situation if a man walked in.
Or it may not have existed at all. I think it's very likely that a man would have been physically barred from entering that space. And so to see and hear stories from those spaces, we need to make sure that women from those communities and women in general are behind the lens as well.
The next one is the Flying Cholitas.
I love this photograph so much. This is Brazilian photographer Luisa Dor, who came to this story. These are Aymara and Quechua women who have created this incredible reversal where they have taken clothing that was part of the sort of colonial imposition that they were forced to wear when they worked in sort of service to colonizers, and now they use them as sort of these powerful decorative costumes as they fight, and it's both this otherworldly and spectacularly beautiful and kind of funny image that I think is a really wonderful moment of levity in the book.
It is a great one. The next one was taken in Kenya. It's called Last Act.
This is from Ugandan photographer Sarah Waiswa, who has lived all over East Africa and is an incredible photographer. And she speaks very explicitly in the book about how she wanted to subvert the imagery that she is so used to of particularly outside photographers coming into poor communities in East Africa and making photographs that we've seen before of young children in poorer neighborhoods in Nairobi, in Kampala. And these are two young girls doing ballet, which she comments is very often associated with upper class children and children of privilege, but they're still having this wonderful, happy experience, and that can define their identity as well.
Tell me about the organization you founded, Women Photograph.
Women Photograph is a nonprofit I created in 2017. We have 1,400 women and non-binary members based in about 120 countries. We also are a grant-making organization. We hold skills-building workshops annually. We run a mentorship program for early career photojournalists. My co-curator on the book, Sarah Aiko, is part of that team alongside Mallory Benedict and Pierre Moore.
The book is What We See, Women and Non-Binary Perspectives Through the Lens. The curator is Daniela Zaltzman. Daniela, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that is PBS News Weekend for this Sunday. I'm John Yang. For all of my colleagues, thanks for joining us. Have a good week.
Major funding for PBS News Weekend has been provided by... For 25 years, Consumer Cellular has been offering no-contract wireless plans designed to help people do more of what they like. Our U.S.-based customer service team can help find a plan that fits you. To learn more, visit consumercellular.tv. And with the ongoing support of these individuals and its...
Welcome to the White House Correspondence dinner. We are all thrilled to see you here. Welcome to CBS News.
There's questions that have to be asked.
Are you ready for some tough questions from CBS News Los Angeles?
Streamline CBS News and original docuseries on Paramount Plus.
Don't give it up for Dark Brandon. Happy to be here. Oh, real quick, Mr. President, I think you left some of your classified documents up there. You can get them. You know, don't get into them. I'll put them in a safe place. You don't know where to keep them. Happy to be here, though. Happy to be here. Very happy to be here. So it's a pleasure to be here amongst our country's greatest leaders, distinguished media organizations, both Property Brothers and Dr. Fauci. If you see Fauci, take a picture with him. That's your new booster shot. But y'all look good, though. I've been watching and looking around all night. Y'all look good. You dress nice. You got the nice threads on. You got the jewelry glistening. Look like everybody got a little piece of that settlement money from Fox News. all I have to say about that. Because I'm not going to have Dominion on my ass. I love Dominion. Matter of fact, let me just say right now, my favorite voting machine is Dominion voting machine. When I go to the polls, I make sure it is a Dominion machine that I use. If your election needs the truth, put Dominion in your booth. I ain't gonna get sued. There's three people you don't want to see in the courtroom. That's Dominion, Cardi B, or Gwyneth Paltrow. You're gonna lose. I'd like to thank Tamara Keith and the White House Correspondence Association for having me. Thank you. I'm well aware that not everybody in this room knows who I am, so let's just address the elephant in the room. I know what it is. Half this room think I'm Kenan Thompson. Other half think I'm Louis Armstrong. President Biden thinks I'm the daddy of Family Matters. Nonetheless, I'm happy to be here at this event amongst government officials who speak to MSNBC, former government officials who now work at MSNBC, and future government officials who currently work at MSNBC. An often overlooked purpose of tonight's dinner, serious business. An overlooked purpose of tonight's dinner is to award scholarships to students who have shown great achievements in journalism. That's right. These brave young souls are the future of the industry, and I'd like to stop right now and congratulate tonight's top scholarship recipient, Arizona State senior George Santos. Oh yeah, George couldn't be here tonight. He's auditioning for RuPaul's Drag Race. We say good luck to you, George. That's your ring. And also, speaking of drag queens, can we stop with the grooming stuff? Can you stop talking about that? Drag queens are not at a school to groom your kids. Stop it. And even if they were, most of them kids gonna get shot at school. It ain't no problem. Don't wrong pass legislation. I think movies gonna bother me. I'm like Mitch McConnell. I ain't got no soul. It's a tumultuous time in the media, though. We got layoffs everywhere. BuzzFeed News, NPR, Axios, Washington Post, ESPN. Paramount Global right now is considering offers from Byron Allen and Tyler Perry to purchase BET. That's how bad it is out there. These companies are so broke, they're giving BET back to black people. Which, by the way, is not what we meant when we said black people wanted reparations. We meant cash. You can give it to us in them Harriet Tubman 20s. But tonight, we're all unified under one thing, and that's scandal. Scandals have been devouring careers this year. The untouchable Tucker Carlson is out of the job. Okay. Some people celebrate it. But to Tucker's staff, I want you to know that I know what you're feeling. I work at The Daily Show, so I too have been blindsided by the sudden departure of the host of a fake news program. Tucker got caught up. Got caught up like that dude from Vanderpump Rules. Text message stuff. I don't know what Vanderpump Rules is about. I just watched it a couple times. My friends told me it's like BMF for white people. Or is that secession? No, secession is power for white people. No, Tucker Carlson is power for white people. No, that's white power. Never mind. Don't worry about that one. Don't worry about that. We got to get Tucker back on the air, Mr. President, because right now there's millions of Americans that don't even know why they hate you. Fox claimed Dominion conspired with the Democrats that Smartmatic voting machine lawsuit is coming. That's right, Smartmatic is coming for you, and they want more money than me. Matter of fact, let me just say right now, my favorite voting machine is the Smartmatic voting machine. If your election needs the truth, put Smartmatic in your booth. But I think it's fair that we should give credit where credit is due. Tucker Carlson is the first host to get fired from Fox News for something that's only partially about how he treats women. That's progress. He shattered the asshole ceiling. Speaking of assholes, Don Lemon is out of a job. Don Lemon, my dog Don Lemon. Don Lemon released a statement saying he got fired from CNN. Then CNN released a statement saying that they offered Don a meeting. They had to part ways because Don Lemon can't even accurately report a story about Don Lemon. I still think that Don deserved more CNN. That ain't how you fire somebody. It's messed up. How funny is it that you work in the news, then watch on the news that you got fired from the news? Don Lemon is now the most obnoxious guy in the history of CNN. That's not bad. Even Jeffrey Tubin looking at Don Lemon like, oh, he rubbed me the wrong way. Letting Don go was the wrong move. You shouldn't have let him go. Not this soon, CNN. First off, Don was fine when y'all was letting him drink. You shouldn't have cut off his liquor. You don't fire your host after the first couple of scandals. Let the scandals got to stack up. You got to get ratings. Yes, Don Lemon was a diva, and he said a couple of women are raggedy in the face, but that's a promotion at Fox News. But I ultimately understand why CNN did what they did. I get it. It's about morals. There should be no place on air for someone who speaks with wild disregard and doesn't consider the blowback to their co-workers or their company. Thankfully, CNN is taking steps in the right direction. They got rid of Don Lemon, and they've now given a show to Charles Barkley. To Charles Barkley's co-host, Gayle King, we say good luck. I think it's going to be a good show. The whole show is going to be Charles Barkley saying something crazy, then Gayle King looking into the camera. Charles. These scandals. That's what connects us. So many scandals. The king of scandals, President Donald Trump. And for just for a moment, can we just all acknowledge, can we just all be honest and just say that the Trump arrest didn't hit like we thought it was going to hit? We're so desensitized to scandals now. That Trump arrest, it didn't do what I thought it was going to do. The Trump arrest is like a pot brownie you ate 4 hours ago. And you're like, do I feel justice? This don't feel like justice. Let me try one of them Georgia arraignment brownies. Maybe that'll hit. That's got some kick to it. Can't follow Trump scandals. There's too many Trump scandals to keep up with. Keeping up with Trump scandals is like watching Star Wars movies. You got to watch the third one to understand the first one. Then you can't miss the second one because it's got Easter eggs for the fifth one. Donald Trump is the only politician whose scandals got spinoffs on Disney Plus. But the Trump arrest made everybody question what they believe. You thought you leaned one way politically, then Trump got locked up. Everybody started waffling. Put Republicans between a rock and a hard place. Locked up for years. All Republicans. I've been saying for years. We got to get tough on crime. Trump got arrested. We meant black crime. Same thing with the liberals too. Liberals was all confused after Trump got arrested. We got to abolish prison. Trump got arrested. Bring back rappers.